Good evening, this is Brass Tacks. I'm Zakir Jacob. Controversial Islamist preacher Zakir Naik, who's a most wanted man here in India for promoting terror, for disturbing peace and amity between communities, and for egregious foreign exchange violations, is today a state guest in Pakistan. The state of Pakistan has rolled out the red carpet for Zakir Naik. He's met with Pakistan Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and also the Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar. He's slated to meet with the Pakistan Army Chief Asim Munir later this week. Now the question is this not a deliberate and malicious provocation by our Western neighbour? How can Pakistan, on the one hand, say it wants better relations with India, it wants to have full diplomatic ties, the restoration of high commissioners, etc., trade relationship to be restored. On the other hand, it rolls out the red carpet for someone who is an economic fugitive offender here in India, someone who is a persona non grata. And like I said, someone against whom there are terror charges, charges of disturbing communal peace and amity, and charges of foreign exchange violations. Is this classic double speak? But first, the story so far. All right, is this Islamabad's way of provoking New Delhi? Let's try and open this up to our guest, Major Retired Gaurav Arya, Defence Analyst now joining us, Lieutenant General Retired Sanjay Kulkarni, former Chief of Staff of the 14 Corps, and DG Infantry, RP Singh, National Spokesperson of the BJP, and Kamar Chima, Pakistani Strategic Affairs Expert, will also be joining us. Major Arya, let me start with you first. And before I come to you, this is what the red carpet that's been rolled out by the Pakistan government for this controversial Islamist preacher Zakir Naik. He's been invited officially by the Shehbaz Sharif government for a month-long visit to Pakistan. He's been provided extensive state security, including armed escorts wherever he goes. He has already met with Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif and Deputy Prime Minister Ishaq Dar. Later this week, he is slated to meet with the Chief of Army Staff, General Asim Munir. The Pakistan Prime Minister, Mr. Sharif, commended Zakir Naik for, quote, positively projecting Islam. I mean, should India just look at all of this and, not react and just sit on its hands, for want of a better phrase? I mean, isn't this an open provocation?
Thank you for inviting me on your show. No, see, you have to look at it from Pakistan's context. Who else is going to come to Pakistan? If anybody has any notions that Elon Musk is going to be in Pakistan or Sundar Pichai is going to be in Pakistan, that's not the case. Nobody comes to Pakistan. Yes, the Malaysian Prime Minister has landed, but that too because Pakistan came so many times. He'll come, he'll sign some weird MOUs and he'll go back and nothing is going to come out of the visit. Secondly, you said that he was an economic fugitive in India, an economic offender. Apart from other things, but so is the current Prime Minister's elder brother. He was in jail for exactly the same thing, and this is why even Imran Khan, amongst other FIRs on him, everybody in Pakistan is doing exactly the same thing. Now, you see, a nation that calls Osama bin Laden a martyr on the floor of the parliament, a nation that says that the Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed are heroes to the Pakistani people, that Osama bin Laden is a hero. I mean, what are we expecting from Pakistan? This is natural. For them, he's a hero. For them, it's like, it's a very big deal for Pakistan that he has chosen to come to Pakistan. And for them, I mean, this is the best thing that could happen to Pakistan. I don't know about the provocation part, but they are so happy. They're so happy.
Pakistan is free to invite whoever they want to invite, roll out the red carpet as a state guest, etc., etc. But here's the litany of charges against Zakir Naik here in India. And I want to ask you about this duplicity. On the one hand, Pakistan says, oh, the impediment to normal relations, the impediment to better ties between Delhi and Islamabad is actually the Indian government, not the Pakistani government. Here's what Zakir Naik is wanted for here in India: for promoting terror, inciting youth to commit unlawful activities and terrorist acts, egregious foreign exchange violations, FCRA violations. His company, the Islamic Peace Foundation, received huge amounts of foreign funding, violating FCRA norms. He's also accused of disturbing peace by promoting hatred between two communities. And as I mentioned a moment ago, and Major Arya also said, the Enforcement Directorate moved to declare him a fugitive economic offender under the Fugitive Economic Offenders Act 2018. Now, here's the thing. Pakistan, like I said, is rolling out the red carpet for a man accused of all of these things: promoting terror, disturbing communal peace and harmony, and is an economic fugitive offender, and at the same time expecting India to extend the hand of friendship. That is the problem. General Kulkarni.
Thank you, Zaka. If I can, say it in a lighter vein or joke a little, which I generally don't do, he seems to have been promoted to Havaldar by Pakistan here. I think something which Pakistan should have realized it. Pakistan uses terror as an instrument of, of a state policy. And imagine inviting a man who incites his communal hatred. And what are they writing? The Prime Minister writes, insightful speaker. Something Naik himself should have realized. Since 2016 is not here in the country, and there is out. And I don't think we can have good relations with Pakistan if Pakistan continues to do this way. Either he's absolute a fugitive, a man who's involved in terror financing, hate speeches, incite communal hatred, money laundering. His TV channel has been banned. The app has not been banned, and this TV channel banned by who all? India, Canada, Bangladesh, UK. All of them have banned the TV channel because they have all realized that here's a man. I think Pakistan should have understood this and definitely not given him a red carpet welcome. Well, they're free to do. I think that's the way they would also look at it. And then being given, the way he's meeting the president, the prime minister, he's meeting everybody. He's going to meet the next chief of the army staff of Pakistan. Is that what he deserves? A person who's wanted by India is being welcomed by Pakistan. And if Pakistan expects good relations with India, definitely a big no.
So, Kamar Chima, this is what the Pakistan Prime Minister said of Zakir Naik when he met him for over an hour at the Prime Minister's residence. Mr. Shehbaz Sharif commended and congratulated Mr. Zakir Naik for what he called positively projecting Islam in India. Now, here is some of the stuff that Zakir Naik has said about Islam. Forget about, all the economic offences, the terror offences that he's wanted for here in India. But these are his quotes, Zakir Naik's quotes about Islam, and I want you to please pay attention. Islam is superior to all other faiths. Non-Muslims should not be allowed to have places of religious worship in an Islamic country. Every Muslim should be a terrorist. The thing is that if Osama is terrorizing the terrorist, then he is following Islam. Girls should not be sent to schools where they lose their virginity by the time they pass out. Muslims have the right to sex with their female slaves. Is this gentleman really projecting, as the Prime Minister of Pakistan said, promoting Islam's message and positively projecting Islam from the quotes that I just read out to you?
Well, Zaka, I'm not a fan of Mr. Zakir Naik. I consider him, he's a sympathizer of Al-Qaeda. He has many issues, and the government of Pakistan should not have invited him as a guest, as a state guest, in my understanding. This should be the last thing the government of Pakistan should do, one thing. But the point is that if India has a problem with Zakir Naik, that doesn't mean we should listen to India. India has problem with many things. For example, and let me quote Dr. Jaishankar, India's Minister for External Affairs, who just said that, the bilateral sanctions do not matter. Does the UN Security Council have any kind of sanctions, Zakir Naik? Has UN General Assembly sanctioned Zakir Naik? So the question is, what India has a problem with Zakir Naik, that is a completely different thing. But as a student of politics, in my personal understanding, it doesn't matter what India has a problem, because India has a problem not just with Zakir Naik, but with the millions of Muslims within India.
One second. That's a gross exaggeration. That's a gross exaggeration.
No. This is not a gross thing. Just today, just today, United States Commission on International Religious Freedom put India as a country of particular concern
Oh,
when it
come
comes to
on. They
religious
are
freedom.
hardly an
But don't try
advertisement
to
for communal amity
don't
and,
try to
peace between
don't try
religious
to tell us
communities.
what
Come
we
on.
have to say.
Let's
My view,
not use
my
these egregious examples. But okay, I take your point. Yes,
United States is
India
the
has a
best,
problem
best
with
friend
Zakir
of
Naik.
India.
Pakistan does not have to listen to it. Fair enough. That's a fair point. RP Singh, respond. You have a problem. Government of India has a problem with Zakir Naik. Why should Pakistan listen to you?
Well, in that case, tomorrow, right, TTP chief also,
Yeah.
who's creating trouble for Pakistan. Will they accept that? What is his name? Noor Wali.
Nurwali Masood. Nurwali Masood. You should invite him. He should be a state guest.
So he should. We can call him as a state guest,
Well,
or one of the states of the union can call him as a state guest. Will they accept it? So we all know what are they up to. And then he is not even Islamist. He is a radicalist. I mean, Islam doesn't preach to kill other people or terrorize other people. I mean, if that is the theory of Islam, then God bless the Pakistan and God bless Mr. Zakir Naik also, who's preaching all this. And then we have seen, I mean, what happened in Bangladesh in 2018, the terror bomb blast. You remember that
The Dhaka Cafe blast, yeah.
Dhaka 2016 terror bomb blast.
Yeah.
So who was behind that? We all know who was behind that. And why did Malaysia also, the country he was in, banned his speeches also? Well, we know that he was not towing the land of Islam, towing the line of Islam. So there is a difference between Islamic preacher and a terror preacher. He is not an Islamic preacher. He is a terror preacher.
So Chima Saab, if India were to invite, Nurwali Masood of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan or Ehsanullah Ehsan of the TTP, or even, let's say, for example, Bashir Baloch of the Balochistan Liberation Army, and treat them as a state guest, that would be okay with you, right? As you said, it's Pakistan's problem. Why should the government of India care?
Well, Zaka, let me add to your knowledge. The Baloch militant organization, which you mentioned, is a UN designated Security Council. UN Security Council designated as a terrorist organization. The TTP is globally designated terrorist organization. If you want to
I can
invite the
name
globally
one or two
designated
globally
terrorist
designated terrorists in
that's the problem.
Pakistan. By name
So the problem
Hafiz
is that
Saeed,
if you want to
by
invite-
name
if you want to invite-
Masood
if you want
Azhar.
to invite, that's
These
your
are all
right. Go
UN
ahead.
globally designated terrorists,
Sir,
Chima Saab.
Zaka,
Let's
Zaka,
not
Zaka, if
let's
you
not
want to
forget.
invite the globally designated terrorist at your home, you are most welcome. We would love to see that, but you can't.
No.
dare to
So
do it
if
because
your
I know
yardstick
you are-
is if
you are very
UN has
smart.
designated them global terrorists, then the world should act. Please, by all means, Hafiz Mohammed Saeed, that's his name.
He's
Masood
in jail.
Azhar.
He's in jail.
That's
He's facing the charges.
Okay,
They're
he's in jail. He's facing
Those who are
charges.
facing they're facing the charges. They're in jail. But if you want to invite the Baloch militant organization, which are designated terrorist
Major Arya, they're in jail. The globally designated terrorists in Pakistan are in jail. And there's nothing against Zakir Naik as far as, any global censures are concerned.
Sure. I mean, technically speaking, Dr. Kamar Chima is absolutely right. I mean, yes, there is no UN sanction. And it is, as I said, there is no point in saying Pakistan should not do this or should not do that. It is, see, who received him at the airport, do you know? It is the chairman of the PMO. There is a PMO organization which looks after youth affairs. And he's being made to interact with the Pakistani youth. So if Pakistanis think that Dr. Zakir Naik is a youth icon, because that is where they are taking him, they're telling the children, Pakistani kids that take inspiration from this guy, you need to become like this guy. He's an Al-Qaeda supporter, all right? Okay, he's not sanctioned by the United Nations. That's all right. That's factually correct, what Dr. Chima said. But the fact of the matter is, this is what Pakistan wants to do. We have to understand. He's a hero for Pakistanis, for many Pakistanis. Why is he meeting the chief of the army staff? Arguably the most powerful man in Pakistan. He's going to be meeting the president. He's already met the prime minister. He's met so many people in Pakistan. This man is a national hero for the Pakistanis.
No, so when you say,
Major,
when you say that, this is he's being taken to young people in Pakistan, his sermons, his lectures are being made available for young people in Pakistan. That includes teachings like, and I quote from what he has said in the past, girls should not be sent to schools where they lose their virginity by the time they pass out. Muslims have the right to have sex with their female slaves. You're saying that the Pakistani establishment is happy that he teaches this to Pakistani youths.
That is what the Pakistani establishment believes, because we'll have to believe that also. I mean, if you want to have Osama bin Laden as a state guest for 6 years, what is the world to believe? that you believe in the philosophy of Osama bin Laden. Similarly, when you have Zakir Naik there, it's Pakistan's right to invite whoever it's a sovereign country, and we have no business telling Pakistan don't invite Zakir Naik. Why not? He's a hero.
So, Chima Saab, when you
kids
talk
are
about
meeting him in
globally
school.
designated terrorists, Osama bin Laden was also there in Abbottabad for a number of years, despite being globally designated terrorist, perhaps
Yes.
the most wanted terrorist in the world at that time.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Kamar Chima?
Absolutely, absolutely.
Well, on this account, I agree with Major Gauravali on this position that a person who is a hate preacher, a person who has been sympathizer to Al Qaeda should not have been invited. You know, the Pakistani military, the Pakistani community, the Pakistani civil society, the policemen, the law enforcement have given lives in fighting Al Qaeda and other terrorist organizations. So there is no point of calling. And just yesterday, he didn't meet the Pakistani girls. This Zakir Naik, he didn't, he dared to avoid the Pakistani girls. There was a foundation who invited him to give awards to the girls, and he went out of the stage. He left the stage and he said that I'm not going to give awards to the women, to the girls who were just 14, 15 years old. So obviously he is not I'm not sympathizer of Zakir Naik, and I think he should not have been invited at any cost. And I have openly said that on my other media platforms, on my media platform. So the point is that he is not a icon. We need to have Elon
No,
Musk.
so
We need
on
to
the
have
one hand,
we need to have other guys.
you have
But-
General Kulkarni in Pakistan, a person like Malala Yousafzai, who was forced to flee that country despite being attacked by the Taliban. She became sort of the symbol of resistance against the Taliban, a young woman. And now you have someone who is refusing to give awards to young Pakistani women because he believes that they shouldn't be sent to schools. I mean, that's the irony.
Dhaka, extremely sad. Extremely sad. I think as neighbor, Pakistan should not have done. And I'm glad Mr. Chima accepts it, that Pakistan should not have invited him. Because he is a man who advocates violence. Not just that, I remember in 2008, some fatwa was issued against him by a Muslim scholar in Lucknow for supporting Osama bin Laden and therefore inciting violence. And they said his speeches are un-Islamic. Islam is a peaceful religion. One doesn't believe in, nobody who believes in Islam would follow this person at all. Because look at the kind of, the words that he uses, the kind of discrimination that he does. A religion which takes everybody along. Here's a man who's inciting violence, who's involved in terror financing, who's doing total hate speeches. And despite that, Pakistan should have come forward to say, here's a man who seems un-Islamic talks, please take him over. Instead, being received by the Deputy Prime Minister, being, giving the honor by the Prime Minister of Pakistan. Look at this guest list he has. Look at the kind of lectures that have been organized for him till October 28th. Is that what it is all about? Is that the man that they need to do it?
So
I think it's sad state of
RP
affairs.
Singh Saab, India can cry hoarse for however long it wants to, Pakistan should not be doing this and Pakistan should not be inviting somebody as radical and controversial as Zakir Naik. A few weeks ago, the Prime Minister of Malaysia was here, and ostensibly Zakir Naik spends a lot of his time in Malaysia. In fact, India sent an extradition request to Malaysia as well. And the Prime Minister of Malaysia was asked about this in a press conference, and he said, if you give us evidence, we will extradite him. So which means what? We've not given the evidence so far, or the evidence is not good enough for him to be extradited? Last I checked, Malaysia was not an unfriendly country to India. We have full diplomatic ties with Malaysia.
Dhaka, Indian government has already given the dossier to the Malaysian government. It's up to the Malaysian government to act as fast as they can. But we also know that there are compulsions also. But that point aside, let's understand his visit to Pakistan. Just recently, Pakistan received some $7 billion from IMF. Zakir Naik is known for lending money to various channels other than the political channels. I mean, could be that their PML, their Pakistan Muslim League would have been funded. He funded Rajiv Gandhi Foundation in India. Remember the 50 lakh rupees donation from his organization. So, Chima Sahab, check on this also. How much money is given to the Sharif, Nawaz Sharif or the Shehbaz Sharif for doing what he is doing or being welcomed in Pakistan? Is it coming free or is it coming with some load of money from Zakir Naik?
Chima Sahab, क्या टेबल के अंडर कुछ डीलिंग चल रहा है क्या?
I don't know about all that, what my friend RP Singh is talking, but the point is, the country like Pakistan, which has fought against terrorism, which is want to fight against extremism. Definitely, Zakir Naik is not our ideal. He's not something who should have been welcomed. But yes, I respect the choice of millions of people who want to invite him, who want to have him on the table. But definitely, what he did to the girls yesterday. This country has 50% women, girls who the Pakistani government really wants to need to go to school, colleges. They need to be part of the workforce in the country. But
Okay.
at this point, if Zakir Naik doesn't want to see the Pakistani young girls and doesn't give an award, that is an embarrassment to the Pakistani women. And I think the Pakistani women, they need to stand up for this, and they need to raise their voice against Zakir Naik that he's not our ideal. Our ideal should be someone who
So,
believes in inclusive thoughts, who believes in pluralism, who believes in moderation, who believes in a forward-looking approach. Because
no,
this
which is
country
what
has
I
fought
don't
extremism
understand.
already.
He's not a private guest. He's a guest of the state. The state has invited him. It's the state that is providing him security. It's the state that's asking him to go to all these institutions and distribute awards and so on. The state is actively overseeing all his programs. He's there. He's going to be there for a month in Pakistan as a guest of the state. But Major Arya, the next time India should consider inviting Bashir Zeb Baloch, who is the current leader of the Balochistan Liberation Army, or we should try and host someone like a Nurwali Masood, who is the head of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan, or Ehsanullah Ehsan, who in fact escaped from a Pakistani prison and is now threatening Pakistan from Turkey, I believe, or Hafiz Gul Bahadur, who is now an offshoot of the Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan. Why should India not roll out the red carpet for these folks?
In fact, Ehsanullah Ehsan was the person responsible for killing those kids in Army Public School, Peshawar.
Correct.
And he's in Turkey, and Turkey is an Islamic brotherly friend of Pakistan, and they swear by each other that, we are brothers for life. I don't think it makes any sense because India has immense diplomatic goodwill in the world, which unfortunately Pakistan does not enjoy. So Pakistan will not lose out anything on the global stage by inviting Zakir Naik. Pakistan loses nothing. I mean, what did Pakistan lose? They had Osama bin Laden. So what? Nobody cares. Nobody cares. People have forgotten about it. But if India invites, you want to cock a snook and you want to tell the Pakistanis that, hum bhi bula sakte hain, hum bhi bulayenge, it will do us damage because we are people with fantastic reputation in the world. What Dr. Jaishankar says, the world believes. The world does not ask India for proof. The world does not say, we want evidence. Once Dr. Jaishankar has said something, it's cast in stone. So I don't think we can endanger all that by inviting all these people, from other organizations who are against the state of Pakistan. But having said that, let me tell you one thing. We have to understand this, and I'm absolutely clear. I've been following Dr. Kamar Chima's videos on that aspect also, and though he's very much against Dr. Naik being invited, and he has said on his own video that Pakistan should invite people like Sundar Pichai and Elon Musk. Why not? And I agree with him there. But we must also understand, like you very rightly said, this is a state visit. This is the state of Pakistan saying that we love you, and you are the ideal our children should follow. This is the person who, according to the Pakistani state, represents the true spirit of Islam. I'm not saying this is the true spirit of Islam. I'm saying Shehbaz Sharif has said as much, that you have done so much for Islam. You're in the service of Islam. So according to the Pakistani state, the version of Islam that Dr. Zakir Naik speaks about is the original and true version of Islam. That is why the Pakistani state is giving him protocol. 1 month meeting the army chief. He will meet the president of Pakistan. He's already met the prime minister. This is very big as far as Pakistan is concerned.
Chima Saab, forget about everything else. The number of people who have died to Al-Qaeda, to ISKP, to TTP, and these are organizations. I mean, here is a man who has praised Osama bin Laden and the diplomatic and international isolation that Pakistan had to face after what happened in Abbottabad in 2011. I mean, you are a living testimony of that. And for that man, Zakir Naik, to come and praise something that Pakistan got for hiding somebody for which Pakistan got international flack and condemnation, that in itself should be the reason why he shouldn't be a state guest. Forget about everything else that he says about Islam and women and so on. You're on mute. You have to unmute, please. Dr. Chima.
Let me tell you. Just last month, the Malaysian Prime Minister was in India. Did Prime Minister Modi raise this issue that why an Al-Qaeda sympathizer is in Kuala Lumpur? The question is that you want to have a business with Malaysia, but a country who is having your fugitive, a country who is having a person who left India and you have dozens of charges against him. Did your government ask Malaysian Prime Minister to bring Zakir Naik on the same flight on which the Malaysian Prime Minister came?
No,
You
that
didn't
question
ask
was
him.
asked to the
So
Malaysian
why are
Prime
you having
Minister.
a problem?
And I asked
Why
that
are
to
we
the
having a
BJP
problem?
spokesperson also. And he says the
Listen.
request has already been made. The extradition request has already been made.
No. This is not something. Okay, you know what you have. We will do also something later on. The question is, and
No,
one,
no,
one
and
more thing
Chima
I want
Saab,
to
you
confirm.
very well
The
know
chief.
extraditions are decided by courts of law. They're not decided by governments. Go on.
Okay.
Make your point.
Okay. And one more thing. I'm sure he's not meeting the army chief of Pakistan. Yes,
This is my
was the
information that
government's-
later this week,
you know,
he
we
is
understand,
slated
you
to
know,
meet
the
General
credibility of the
Assamuddin.
information, the credibility of the Godi media.
Come on.
We all know
Chima
that.
Saab, you've been on
The
my show. You
credibility
know,
of the Godi media, we all know that.
my
So
shows are
let's
based
not
on
get
fact.
into-
But anyway, let's see. If he doesn't meet,
But
by next week, we'll have another show and we'll invite you again. All
Sure,
right?
why not?
Okay.
Why
We'll
not?
leave it at
I
that.
will be there.
Thank you very much to all our guests. Like I said, I'm very clear about this. Pakistan itself is doing a disservice to itself by inviting someone like Zakir Naik. Forget about whatever charges he is wanted for here in India. But